wanted to. Because it's not you. It's the system. The system won't let you stop it.
There's more at stake here. What you want or what I want.
Then what's the point? What's the point of being president? You're powerless.
No, I'm not powerless. Because I understand the system. I believe I can control it. Maybe not control it totally, but tame it enough to make it do some good.
Sounds like you're talking about a wild animal.
Or maybe I am. But you understood something that's taken me 25 years in politics to understand. The CIA, the Mafia, those Wall Street bastards.
Sir?
The beast. 19-year-old kid. Just call it a wild animal.
Yes, sir.
Man, dog breath. Oh, dogs. Have you got any puppy secrets you want to tell me today?
Okay, Steve, when the clapper goes, you're on.
Yep. Okay. Whoa. Put on the brakes. Put on the brakes. Welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, pufties, bun-eyed heifers, right and left wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, and little dogs too, to another version of It's News to Us. You gonna say hello? Say something. What do you got to say for yourself?
Arf, she said.
Yeah. Jeez. You getting the on ya? That's one for the governor, right? Okay. Go to your own camera. Do something. Come on, do something good. I'm not gonna beat ya. Jeez, he runs away like I'm gonna whack him.
Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen.
Speaking of the governor.
Mac the Fork.
I'm going to demand an apology from the governor for branding me as a racist with these racist. I got a little bit of an echo going out here, but it's.
Yeah. Okay. I got to do two things here.
Maybe it's time delay. Yeah, that's cool.
There. Is that okay now?
Yeah, that's good.
I had to gain you here, so that when you record we can hear your voice better. But I had to turn down the main volume. Okay,
cool.
Today, ladies and germs, we have Epica on the screen with the incredibly beautiful Simone Simon, and now.
And in the booth, and you are watching, in the booth we have Philo T. Farnsworth, College of Musical Knowledge and inventor of modern television. You're watching It's News to Us. We're Newport's oldest TV news, which is new. We got adult themes and adult language, but not really. Hang on to your hats. And beware the Bronze Age visible sky god. He's going to beat you and forgive you and beat you and forgive you and beat you and forgive you. Just like in the Old Testicle. And that's right. We are being run. We are a nation now. We are a geriocracy, okay? This country is being run by people who should have retired 20 years ago. You know, there's nothing wrong with working part-time if you still have a job you enjoy or whatever.
And you can make a sentence.
Yeah, if you can make a sentence and talk and walk and without tripping and falling. And Jesus, did you see that speech he had last night? It's a terrible racist country and this systemic racism. And Jesus, get out of my way. Where's my cane? There's an old Thorazine ad. And we're all inclusive here. We cater to men, women, use any bathroom you want. And defund the police, no. All right? It's like Senator John Kennedy, that guy from Alabama. He sounds like, he reminds me of Mr. Haney. He says, next time you need a cop, call a crackhead. And we attack ideas, not people. I mean, come on, really. I don't, just because people have a different, idea than you do doesn't mean that they're wrong or evil or you have the moral high ground. And there are vaccine side effects, and here's the website where you can go, and you should report them. They have an adverse reaction page, And here's another thing, if this is still up, they have no quantified virus isolates. Now, I didn't understand that. If you don't have any virus isolates, how can you test for something you don't have an isolate of?
He's zoned.
Yeah, I guess he was all happy on the way in here.
No, I guess I scratched him out.
Yeah. And speaking of which, oh yeah, it's a horrible country. And this newspaper I get once a week. It's from the people, the Epoch Times. It's from the people who left communist China, who escaped from communist China. And they talk about the United States, the gifts that came from the United States to the world. And the biggest reason that we have the best ideas and products and stuff we always have, and ingenuity, is because we have a good patent system that guarantees you the right to keep and make stuff. You know, in other countries, people will just steal your idea and run with it, you know. And which is funny too, because if you look at the patent for the telephone, I think, Philo,
Yeah.
Some guy in Boston had patented his telephone like, I don't know, not 8 hours after Alexander Graham Bell patented his, and the fight was on, but Bell was first. And here's a list of some of the stuff, the gifts to mankind that came from America. And speaking of the devil, there's Bell right there. Alexander Graham Bell. Yep. Watson, come, I want you. I think he was gay. Oh, and here's what allowed us to turn to wheat fields, and otherwise we would have been all a bunch of peasant farmers. But there's the McCormick Reaper right there, invented by Cyrus McCormick, which allowed a guy and a team of horses to just mow and dry acres and acres of wheat that would have taken an army of peasants doing it, by hand with scythes, and then wrapping them and staking them up, to dry, Philo.
Yep, I remember them.
Yeah,
My grandfather had a scythe.
I have a couple. I tell you, I've used it a couple times. When I was a trustee, somebody was complaining about the weeds near the intersection, going up to the border, the intersection of Dominion Ave or whatever. The weeds were so high they couldn't see when they came to the stop sign on the other side of the railroad tracks. They couldn't see. So at first I was going to go up with a damn weed whacker. Well, I couldn't get the stupid thing started, right, because it's been sitting all friggin' summer. So I said, the hell with it. I grabbed my scythe and I got out my stone and whetstone and gave it a quick sharpening. And I went up there, and in 10 minutes I'd had the thing cleared of weeds. Yeah, so the McCormick Reaper, lightning rods. From Ben Franklin alone, we got lightning rod, bifocals, the Franklin stove, which gave out, we found actually afterwards that a good Rumford fireplace with a Venturi has a Venturi effect, like a carburetor. And if you build a shallow Rumford fireplace to specifications, it actually throws as much heat as a wood stove or more, Philo. So Franklin, lightning rod, bifocals, Franklin stove, swim fins, even a urinary catheter. Ooh. Jefferson invented a machine for making macaroni.
No kidding.
Yeah, a revolving chair with a writing table and a cipher wheel for coded messages, and plows that were better suited to the hilly country around Charlottesville. Washington invented a threshing barn for grain that made it faster and more sanitary. And Let's see, plumbers, Post-it notes. Oh, yeah, and speaking of which, you know who invented liquid paper, Philo?
No, I don't.
You know the Mike Nesmith from the Monkees?
Oh, yeah. Was it him?
His mother.
No kidding.
Yeah. And she even, she was doing her nails one day and decided that, not only would the stuff work, but it would be best dispensed with a brush, like from a nail polish bottle.
I got a question for you, though.
Yep.
Now that the neoliberal fascists have gone off the deep end, what are guys like you and me going to do with our hammer and sickle?
Oh, man. I'm telling you, this country, to have the president, first of all, the rule of this country, an unspoken rule, was you don't talk about trials, especially when they're underway and when the jury is not sequestered or doesn't have a change of venue and they're operating out of the town where the incident happened. You keep your mouth shut until after the verdict comes in, right?
Not anymore.
Oh, no. We got Mad Maxine Waters out there threatening they're going to raise hell and burn the cities down unless they get the verdict they want. We got First the City comes out and settles with the family for something like $27 million or something, which that lawyer Ben Crump got 30% of, if not half, easily. So he's walking around in handmade, tailored Italian suits and Bruno Magli shoes or whatever. And then, so they settle, during the trial, which is a completely wrong thing to do. And then the president weighs in, and he says that before they go into deliberations, he says he's praying for some kind of a verdict, a guilty verdict on all 3 counts. It's like, what's wrong with this geezer? He can't even walk. I mean, I'm telling you, thank God we have some normal people and some normal average people in the Democratic Party. They're not going to let them make Puerto Rico a state. They're not going to let them make the District of Columbia into a state. It's in the Constitution, the District of Columbia
and I hope they keep the justices at 9.
It's got to be. If they try and pull an FDR, so that's what sunk FDR and half his New Deal bull crap. I mean, we did get a few good things out of the New Deal. We got unemployment insurance and Social Security. Everything else was crap. The WPA stood for We Piddle Around, where most of the money for the WPA, Works Progress Administration, went to counties and states that leaned heavily Democratic. That's why we didn't see any big projects here in Vermont, Terry, because there were only 2 states didn't vote for FDR in the landslide. One was Vermont and the other one was Maine.
Oh, Vermont was heavily Republican up until 1964.
Oh, yeah.
In 1964, where they elected
Phil Hoff.
Phil Hoff.
Yep.
He defeated a guy named Foote, F-O-T-T-E.
Yep.
And Dick Snelling ran for a lieutenant governor, and he lost also.
Yeah, so that's why we didn't see any Blue Ridge Parkway. That was another thing, too. The locals said, look, no, you're not building a road along our mountains, damn it. I don't care how many tourists it brings. You're not building a road up in the mountains. The mountains are for hiking, damn it. But the Blue Ridge Parkway is pretty cool.
And that guy is still living up there to this day.
Yeah. There is descendants, like Harry Truman next to that Mount St. Helens, man. Yeah. I'm not leaving, damn it. They never found him or his body. Anyways, Betty Nesmith in the early 50s, Bank Secretary Betty Nesmith Graham. She was a poor typist, and the electric typewriter kept making more mistakes. So realizing that artists often paint over their errors, she began experimenting with white water-based tempera paints on a small brush, covering up mistyped, allowing it to dry for a few minutes and typing over the white space. She did it in her kitchen laboratory, originally assisted by her son Michael, who was later part of the rock band The Monkees, who went on to make one of the first music videos. Graham struggled initially in her first attempts to sell the product, And finally, it was called Mistake Out, later called liquid paper. And by the late 1970s, liquid paper was turning out millions of bottles every year. In '79, she sold the company to Gillette for $47 million.
Not bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And here's one, patent laws. Voight created a woman, no, a friend, Aaron Voight, created a weapon whose height and length, the size of a credit card, weighs 7 ounces and fires a single .22 caliber bullet with 3 more rounds in the card. Called it Life Card, found at Trailblazer Firearms. He said, what good is a gun that only shoots 1 bullet? He says, it's 1 more than you have if you don't have a gun at all.
I suppose so.
And then pediatric neurosurgeon Ben Carson wrote, before this country came on the scene, for thousands of years, people did things the same way. Within 200 years of the advent of this nation, men were walking on the moon. I want us to recognize it's the kind of people we are. We're creative with a lot of ingenuity and a lot of energy. Again, here we go again, too. We're not going to be creative, and we're not going to have ingenuity if instead of teaching kids math and science and language skills and history like other countries are doing, we're teaching them critical race theory and how to hate whitey, and every white kid should atone for their sins, and their parents are wrong, the country's horrible. I mean, come on. Do you think the Chinese are teaching critical race theory? No, they're shoving their Muslims and religious objectors into camps and selling their organs on the black market. This is not a horrible country, all right? Sure, we had some problems at first. Who doesn't? You're going to judge somebody by their birth defects. If somebody was born with a hair lip and they have surgery to correct it, are you going to make fun of them for having a hair lip the rest of their life? I don't think so. It's just insane, man. So anyways, April 19th, Monday was the 19th. It was the anniversary of the battle at Concord and Lexington. Thanks, Philo. There it is right there. Paul Revere's Ride, one of the best books. David Hackett Fisher, the same guy, wrote Champlain's Dream, and he wrote Washington's Crossing about the Battle of Trenton, where Washington snuck up on the Hessian soldiers at Trenton in the winter of '76, Christmas '76 and '77. And I'll tell you what, if you don't think there was divine providence helping this nation out in its early days, all you have to do is read the books. I mean, when they were leaving Long Island and New York City, when the British had them surrounded, a fog rolled in just at the right time so Washington could get his troops out of New York, and then they got their butts kicked in New York, and then when they crossed the river at Fort Lee in Jersey, they got their butts kicked there. So then the government split to Philadelphia, and Washington was realized that he could go on one last campaign before the guy's term of enlistment, the militias, the term of enlistment was up. So he listened to his generals, and he listened to his enlisted men even. He had a great network of spies that we still don't know who they were to this day. And they went into Trenton in a blinding snowstorm, crossed the Delaware River through giant floes of ice. Only a quarter of the army got across. They brought their artillery with old Henry Knox, who was a bookseller out of Boston before he became a general and head of artillery. And then they came in and they kicked the Hessians' butt. So the Brits send for reinforcements, and the weather changed. The Brits come down slogging through all this muddy crap on their way down in December, January, and then they get their butts kicked again, and then Washington goes around the backside. The weather changes, it freezes up, so Washington and his troops get up to Princeton in weather like it was frozen solid, so he could get up there. And then he comes back on the frozen roads, And then when the Brits start chasing them, the weather changes again and turns the roads to soup. It's just an incredible story. But do they teach history anymore? Oh no, it's all slavery. We were founded on slavery, and it's just terrible. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But what kills me more than anything, and this is when it gets really scary, is when we start seeing censorship, Philo. And the censorship stuff is going to kill us, because if Twitter and Facebook cancel people and keep it up, I mean, if they can cancel the president of the United States, they can cancel anybody, and this has got to stop. Okay, we have 2 stories I'm going to tell you about, well, a few, that you can't find because Facebook won't let you share them, and Twitter canceled the account of James O'Keefe, the guy who runs Project Veritas. Now, no matter what you think of O'Keefe and Project Veritas, they do what 60 Minutes used to do, right? They take hidden cameras and they hide them in purses or whatever, or briefcases, and they go in and they catch people basically telling the truth. And then they bring the truth out through Project Veritas website, and it only gets played on one station, Fox News or maybe Newsmax or OAN, a couple conservative outlets, but the other ones, you won't hear it on the other alphabet networks, because they just don't do it. Okay? Well, what Project Veritas did you hear about this one, Philo?
I haven't. Please tell me.
With the CNN people came out, that CNN executive producer.
You sent me that article. You sent me the article. I did read it. Yeah.
Yeah. This guy, he's. Excuse me, folks.
Cigarette, please?
Yeah, can I have another smoke, please? It's good for you. 9 out of 10 doctors smoke Camels.
And all of them get a hump.
Yeah, all of them got big humps and goiters. So anyways, this punk-ass kid, because let's face it, CNN and all these other, they're all run by rich kids, who went to the best schools, and, at Harvard and Princeton and Yale. And so anyways, they're all stuck in New York. And so this kid goes out and he gets on this dating app, right? And he posts what his job is on the dating app, hoping to impress the girls, I'm a head executive producer or whatever it is at CNN, mister. I'm a big guy, and I'm only like 28, you know what I mean? So O'Keefe and his people see it, and they hire this hot girl, or they get some hot girl from the office to answer the ad. Of course he's going to take the bait, right, Philo? She's hot, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So he goes out on a series of 5 dates with this girl, and he's telling her how, oh yeah, we did all these stories at anti-Trump, and we got Biden in the White House, and we're so proud of ourselves. And he just lists it on and on about what exactly they did, how they covered these stories to make Trump look bad. And it was just an insane, he just vomited out all the stuff that we had suspected happened all along. And of course, what does Facebook do? Twitter shuts down O'Keefe's Project Veritas's Twitter account, and Facebook won't let him post the story. And another thing, too. Here's another story you won't hear about. I had just printed up about one of the girls who founded Black Lives Matter, which took in $90 million in contributions from American industry and others, like last year. She's looking at house number 4, and she's supposedly eyeing a house in the Bahamas. Now, she already has one house in Atlanta that has a private airplane hangar, Philo.
Wow.
Has a private airplane hangar with an apartment over the hangar building, and the house, which I'm assuming must be next to an airfield. And she has a couple of houses in L.A., and she's buying another house in L.A., which coincidentally, the house she's buying in L.A. happens to be it's only 2% black, according to the census. So here's this woman saying, buy black and Black Lives Matter and everything else. And she's got 3-4 houses, and she's looking at another one in the Bahamas, supposedly, and another one in the ritziest part of L.A. all amongst white people. Buy black, except for me, because I want to live with whitey. I don't know why. The neighborhood's a lot safer.
You know, this isn't going to be good because pretty soon Stuart Copeland is going to be upset that someone's got more houses than him.
Yeah.
You know our good buddy Stuart Copeland?
Who's he?
The richest televangelist in the country.
Oh, God, not those guys.
The richest. And he's got I don't know how many houses and planes and trains and automobiles.
Unbelievable.
Anyways.
Yeah, just like FDR, man. Just put my private car on the back of that train there before the caboose. And so you won't hear about the BLM house buying story because they say, oh, yeah, well, that would interfere with, that's like outing somebody. And, and they didn't give the exact address. They just mentioned what town it was in, right? Yet a guy who testified at that cop trial in Minneapolis, they went to a house that he used to live at in California, which is now, California is the poorest state in the nation, poorer than Mississippi. They went to a house that he used to live in, put a pig's head on a spike out front and smeared pig blood all over the place. And he hasn't lived there for a while, but they thought he lived there. But because he testified for the defense in the cop trial, they went and did this anyways. But did Twitter, suspend anybody's account over that? Oh, hell no. And then there's the Hunter Biden gun story. They've left that alone, where he bought a friggin' revolver and he was screwing his dead brother's wife, and she was scared. Yeah, Beau Biden's wife. He was boning her. What's that?
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's a real dope opera. With all the crack and everything.
Oh goodness!
And there's pictures of him on his laptop with the cracked teeth, the meth teeth. He's had them all fixed since then. Obviously, they got plenty of money, and from selling out to China, he got $1 billion from the communist Chinese. I mean, they go around giving $1 billion to everybody, right? So he's boning his sister-in-law. And she got scared because he was so high, he wasn't making any sense. So she went out to his car, took the revolver out of his car, and then threw it into the dumpster of this grocery store, which is right next to a school or something. And I don't know if the grocery store people or somebody found the damn gun, turned it over to the cops. And then the Secret Service come in, and they tried to get copies of the gun, the sheet where the guy sold the gun to Hunter Biden, and the shop owner was smart enough. He says, no, only the ATF can, or as Joe Biden says, the AFT. He said only the ATF can take my records. No, get out of here. You don't have a warrant. Screw. So anyways, those are the stories you won't hear about. And so here's another one. Get this. It looks like our friends in the Communist Party, they're collecting our information, all our information, and our DNA, Philo. Yeah, they're getting a bigger DNA database. It's like I've been telling you about these COVID tests. Forgive me, but I just don't trust the government. And when you put your name on a COVID test and it goes down, they put that swab in your nose, they get all your DNA, okay? In the old days, they need a warrant to collect your DNA. But now people are willingly giving it up for a test. The only way I would test is if I was assured it was anonymous, where they'd give me a number, I give them the sample, and then I call and check the number. But even then, they can find out who you are by what the number was you telephoned from.
Yeah, I got to have one this week again before my operation. Standard procedure, we have to have that done.
Hey, another hip replacement, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, this will be the 5th time I've had one. And now, I keep asking these idiots. Yes, they are idiots. How many times you need to test negative before you're negative?
Until you can pass the test, Philo.
Yeah.
You'd better study up for it.
I've studied hard and I failed every one, so I'm going to keep studying and keep failing.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. Anyways.
Anyways, America's gene information is valuable to China due to the ethnic diversity of the U.S. population, because varied data sets are more useful in research. And bulk databases can be used to advance their artificial intelligence tools. Generic data combined with personal info stolen in cyber attacks is used to precisely target U.S. individuals or companies for surveillance, manipulation, or extortion. And the regime may also be able to identify vulnerabilities, such as addictions or mental illnesses, of a target by analyzing gene data and health records that could be leveraged for blackmail or to recruit foreigners to spy for them, or suppress dissidents abroad. And Chinese companies have invested in firms that handle sensitive healthcare and personal data, gaining them entry into the market and access to the data. In 2013, the commie Chinese genetics firm BGI Group bought California-based sequence machine maker Complete Genomics for $118 million. Since the pandemic, BGI has pushed their COVID tests in support labs around the world. By August 2020, the firm had sold 35 million rapid COVID tests to 180 countries and built 58 labs in 18 countries. But no labs were set up in the United States, so they say. Former NCSC director William Evanina warned that BGI labs were like Trojan horses. By setting up gene sequencing equipment in the U.S., the company could later exploit the info to mine Americans' genetic information. Now get this is the best one of all. In 2015, Chinese investment firm Wu Xi Healthcare Ventures invested in 23andMe, a U.S. company that offers genetic testing to customers and maintains a large genomic database. Yeah, I went on 23andMe and I found out I was part Irish and part Labrador Retriever.
Yeah. Ancestry DNA just redid everybody's DNA again, and they narrowed it down. My DNA. One good thing I did find out, though, I'm less French.
I think Ancestry is run by the Mormons, aren't they?
Yeah. They're big into genealogy and that, and it's good because it helped me find my mom.
Yeah, that worked out good.
And my Aunt Lily and a few others.
I hope that they have a good anti-hacking firewall on their database. That's all I hope.
They'll probably find out I'm related to some mafia man.
Well, there's always a skeleton in every closet, Philo.
Yep.
Chinese companies offering low-cost gene sequencing service also form partnerships with U.S. hospitals, universities, and research institutes, which allow the firms to gain access to more genetic data. A 2019 report found that at least 15 Chinese firms were licensed to perform genetic testing or sequencing on U.S. patients. 15 firms licensed in the U.S. The Chinese regime has amassed vast amounts of healthcare and personal data through cyber hacks. In 2014, Chinese hackers breached health insurer Anthem, stealing health ID numbers, names, birth dates, address, social numbers, employment, and income data from 78 million customers. In 2019, the Justice Department charged 2 Chinese nationals with the hack. 78 million people. And Joe Biden, what is Joe Biden going to do with China? Oh, he's talking about Russia now. Oh, them damn Russians, they're, they got 15 million troops around the Donbass, eastern Ukraine. Oh, who gives a crap about the Ukraine? I'm half Ukrainian, you know what? And I wouldn't go over there to lift a finger to help those people. They're crazy. Why do you think my mother left? Hell, she'd rather split with the Nazis and take her chances than go back to communist Russia. You know, good grief, man. It was the lesser of two evils, and I mean evils. You know, well, she wound up doing time in Saarbrücken labor camp and was in Dresden when it was firebombed. Good grief. In 2014, again, the Chinese hackers infiltrated the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, stealing 23 million records of federal employees, including sensitive personal information submitted for security clearances. Yeah, but, well, you know, we paid, but Joe Biden's bought and paid for, so it's okay. You know, they're our friends now. Just ask my buddy, my son Hunter. Oh man. Yeah, now they're talking about breakthrough stuff. Did you hear about that breakthrough? Even people who are vaccinated are still coming down with the virus.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dr. Levine says, well, you know, it's only 75%, 80% effective, so you know.
The whole idea of the vaccine is that if you catch it, just like the flu, you won't suffer as badly. That's all it's meant to do.
Yeah.
It isn't meant to protect you and a whole bunch of people from it.
Oh, damn it. I left that Fauci book outside. Damn it. I was going to get some more of that St. Fauci crap.
You.
Oh, and here we are. Oh, here's another thing, too. Yesterday, day before, they came out with the autopsy for Officer Brian Sicknick, the Capitol policeman who was supposedly beaten to death with a fire extinguisher by an armed mob.
He had a heart attack, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a stroke or something. They figure, because, well, they cremated him the day after he died, Philo. What does that tell you? Thanks.
Somebody's got something to hide.
I don't know. His mother said he died of a stroke. He said he was fine after the attack, and he wasn't beaten with a fire extinguisher, yet they still put this stuff in here. It's nuts, man. Let's see. Inspector Michael Bolton found the department's deficiencies remain widespread. Equipment was old, stored badly. Leaders failed to act on previous recommendations to improve stuff. Broad lack of current policies or procedures. And, good grief. The entire force is also grieving over the death of 3 of their own. Officer Brian Sicknick, who collapsed and died after engaging with protesters. That was the next day. They make it sound like it happened right away. And you wonder why people call it fake news?
It's all become fake now.
It's insane, Terry.
Oh, yeah, I know. The wife and I won't even watch the news anymore.
I watch it for the humor value. I swear to God.
We can't even find that anymore. We did find one on the satellite, channel 307. It's called News Nation.
Yeah.
We found that to be fairly in the middle.
And I watch both left and right for, you know.
I can't take either side. It's just disgusting because they're all lying.
But the worst are like NPR. Oh, my God. I
was listening to them on my way over to Gifford Memorial yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think it was Vermont radio. And one guy said something that was so profound. He said, it does not matter. He said, the two-party system has failed us because when the Republicans come up with a good idea, the Democrats automatically oppose them. And when the Democrats come up with a good idea, the Republicans automatically oppose them. And he said, this is the failure of the two-party system.
Yeah, but the biggest rule of all, I think, is if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
If it ain't broke, you're not trying.
Yeah. Yeah, get a bigger hammer. All right, the border was taken care of. We had it taken care of. They were building the wall. They had the Remain in Mexico program. And now it's just nuts. They've let over 250,000 people just bum rush the border. They don't even test them for COVID, half of them. And they're making us walk around with masks while they get on buses. It's just nuts.
Isn't it great? I have to have another test to get an operation.
Oh, yeah.
But these people can come across the border. Oh, we don't have to test them. That's okay.
Oh, all you got to do is repeat after me, Philo. No hobbling glass.
Yep.
And just point to your hip and say, oh. It's nuts. Brian Sicknick, Officer Billy Evans, who was killed when he was hit by a car that rammed into a barricade. Oh, they don't mention the fact that that guy was an adherent of black Muslim leader Louis Farrakhan. Do they mention that? Oh, no. Oh, and here's another thing. This is what really kills me, too, with this Capitol stuff. Not anywhere is a mention of John Sullivan, who took all that video called Jaden X, under the name Jaden X. And he runs an outfit called Insurgents, Inc. And he was busted for rioting in Utah last summer, and then he was shown on video breaking into the Capitol, broke a window, oops, he says, and did all this other crap. He got video of that Ashley girl getting shot. We still don't know the name of the cop that killed her. An unarmed white woman gets shot in our nation's capital, and we don't know, to this day, we don't know the name of the cop who shot her, yet they put the guy on trial for stepping on the guy's neck. We got that on video, too. This guy shot her, we still don't know who Anyways, this John Sullivan guy, what he did, Philo, he sold all his video rights and everything to CNN for $70,000. And what is CNN doing with that video and stuff, Philo?
Don't know.
They're sitting on it. Now, what happened in 1963 where one guy had a movie of JFK getting shot, and a big outfit bought it up, and we never saw it for over 10 years. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember a whole bunch of stuff got buried back then.
This was the Zapruder film.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Abraham Zapruder was standing on a big block of friggin' whatever in front of this the book depository, and his wife was holding on to his feet or whatever, and he's sitting there with his 8mm movie camera, and he caught the president taking 2 bullets. First he clutches his neck as he got shot from behind, and it went through his throat, and then there was bullets coming in from all other directions. They say as many as 5 to 6 shots that day rang out. And Zapruder, they took the film, and what's his face? Claire Booth Luce from Time Life magazine bought the Zapruder film, and we never got to see it because anybody who viewed that film could say, aha, look. I mean, it's obvious. I don't care what you say about, Oswald with the old Italian rifle and the oak trees that shed their leaves 6 months early, that whole baloney. When you looked at the Zapruder film, so he bought it and he sat on it for 10 years. And CNN's done the same thing with this John Sullivan's video.
Does anybody in their right mind believe that Oswald could have hit the president that many times from that distance with that dumb rifle?
Oh, and the magic bullet theory. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that one.
Well, they said it went through Kennedy.
Oh, that one there.
Yeah, went through the seat, into Connolly's leg, out through his wrist, turned around in midair, came back, and, he did the magic bullet theory. And like Jim Garrison said in his trial in New Orleans, he said a bunch of people at IBM can tell you that, an elephant can hang off a cliff by its tail around a daisy, They claim that that's possible too. So anyways, it's just nuts. It also looks at missed intelligence as the insurrectionists planned the attack openly online, and various agencies sent warnings that were disseminated incorrectly. Many cases, equipment expired, wasn't replaced, over 20 years old. Riot shields shattered upon impact as officers fended off the violent mob. Oh, good grief, man. I can't take it. It's fake news. It's just fake news. And here we are again, too. U.S. asserts Russia. Oh, they're going on with this stuff again. That what the hell was it? That Trump, Biden even said this during the debates, that Trump, they had bounties. The Russians were paying the Taliban bounties on U.S. troops. And they know it's not true, and they just kept repeating the lie. This is like fascist friggin' Germany. And we're back to the Mueller report. And here we are. U.S. asserts that Russia held Trump polling data in 2016. Oh my God, Philo. Polling data. Could you imagine? Like polling data is some kind of secret? It's like national security? This is insane. But those investigations were unable to determine what Kilmanek did with the data and if it went further. Kilmanek was a key but mysterious figure in Mueller's investigation into potential coordination between Russia and the Trump campaign. Oh, God almighty. A key episode examined by Mueller involved Manafort's decision to share the polling data with Kilmanek, something prosecutors say Manafort lied about when he was questioned. They scrutinized a series of secretive encounters between the men, including an August 26 meeting at the Grand Havana Room in New York City. There, according to statements provided by Mueller, Manafort briefed Kilmanek on internal campaign data and messaging, and they discussed battleground states. Ooh. The sharing of the polling data was an eye-catching data point, especially since it left open the possibility that Russia could have exploited such inside info to target influence campaigns in order to boost Trump's election bid in 2016. But Mueller's team said it couldn't reliably determine Manafort's purpose in sharing it. A Treasury Department spokesman did not return an email seeking comment. Oh, so we'll just, we don't get any sources on this, so we'll just make stuff up. Oh, it's insane. Oh, and here you go. I'm sure, I'm sure we're gonna, I'm sure we're all gonna sleep better knowing that Burlington has banned leaf blowers, Philo.
You know what? I think, would you believe my stepson and his wife were over in Bumington on Church Street last week?
Yeah.
And outdoors, it was very, very common to see loads and loads of snowflakes wearing double masks outdoors.
Outdoors. It's insane.
They are. These snowflakes over there are very insane. That's why I won't go shopping there.
And here they're talking about the BIPOC stuff for vaccine. You know, they got to the front of the line. The U.S. Supreme Court uses a demanding legal standard in reviewing race-based classifications. There is no direct precedent in which courts have considered race in allocating scarce health care resources. They've erred on the side of caution when it comes to race-based policies, according to a strict scrutiny principle narrowly tailored to achieve a compelling governmental interest. If possible, a state government would ideally employ strategies outside of race to promote equity. Equity, again with the equity, not equality. Ask somebody what equity means. Ask them. What does equity mean? This could mean prioritizing factors such as housing density, geography, and socioeconomic status. The more intense the priority that might be given to racial minorities, the deeper the legal scrutiny will be, the authors wrote, arguing for racially neutral approaches to promote social and racial justice. Oh, yay. And here we are. More COVID-19 state shutdowns unlikely, despite the CDC suggestion. Even Democratic leaders say that they're done with that approach. Well, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. The lockdown states have the worst outcomes. Why is that? Because they're not letting the kids go out and become immune, and the rest of the population too. People have their own T-cell responses to all kinds of viruses, not just this one.
Well, now the young people are the ones that are getting the virus, and generally speaking, this was a good statistic you're going to like. We saw it on Bill Maher. They asked Democrats and Republicans and independents what percentage of people who get COVID-19 end up in the hospital.
I saw that. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, wasn't that incredible?
Yeah.
1 to 5%.
It's 1 to 5%. Yet Democrats and snowflakes
synonymous term there.
Yeah. They thought that it was like 50%, 30 to 50%.
Yep, and Republicans thought it was about 47%.
Yeah.
Talk about idiots.
Because they're not telling the truth, and they're not doing their own homework.
What did he call it? He called it the networks have what did he call it? Propaganda porn?
Yeah, panic porn.
Panic porn. That was it. Yes.
And leave it to Bill Maher. I mean, God bless the guy. Even a blind pig finds a chestnut now and then, right?
Yeah, and he's always been on the very, very left leaning.
Yeah, but he's a skeptic.
Yes, that's even better.
Yeah, and they're talking about this. Oh my God, how Chicago's narrative changed on a police slaying of a 13-year-old kid. Well, the 13-year-old baby is out at 2:30 a.m. with a gangbanger from the Latin Kings, a 21-year-old guy. Now, what is a 21-year-old parolee gangbanger doing out at 2:30 in the morning with a 13-year-old kid, Philo?
Oh, probably playing hopscotch.
Oh, sure. And they have the city, the south side of Chicago, wired for sound, right? And they have microphones like on the lampposts, so they can hear a gunshot and they can identify what area it came from within seconds, right? So they hear this bang, 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 like some from a drive-by shooting. So they send the cop there. The cop goes running after one guy. I don't know what happens to him. He goes running down the alley. You can see the gun in the 13-year-old kid's hand. Now the kid goes into this doorway or whatever, and he spins around, tosses the gun, and puts up his hands. And at that time, that split a 1/6 of a second, the cop decides to shoot him. Because, he doesn't know he's 13 years old. All he knows when he was chasing the kid had a gun. And when somebody turns to you, you can't clearly see their hands. His body camera showed that the kid tossed it's just nuts. Gangbangers at 3 a.m. And you notice none of this stuff is happening. There was something like 27 people shot over the weekend in Chicago's South Side. Do they care about those black lives? No, those black lives don't matter. The Mayor Beetlejuice here, I guess she sees it as a self-correcting problem. We're just getting rid of the gangbangers. Let them shoot each other.
The only problem is there's too much crossfire. Other people get killed.
Yeah, and a 7-year-old girl got shot at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And killed, shot and killed.
So you think her father was the target?
Oh, yeah, obviously. But you know where it's not happening? In one of the biggest cities in this country where it's not happening, Philo? No riots, no shootings, hardly any shootings, nothing?
Where's that?
Detroit.
No kid. Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't hear about them anymore.
No, because the police chief, he's a black guy, go figure, he just put his foot down. He said, no, we're not having that here. You get caught with a gun, we're throwing a book at you, you're going away, you're going to the joint. We're not going to put up with rioting. We're not going to have boarded up storefronts. No, 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 and no. And God bless them, it's working. Oh, here we are. This is the one. Biden gaining veteran support. Oh, sure he is. Yeah. Everybody, I mean, you kidding me? This guy can't walk up and down stairs. He can't make a sentence. And I sure as hell wouldn't get in a car with him behind the wheel. I mean, I have a friend who's 80 years old, and I'm not sure if I like him driving me around, not because he's 80 years old, but because he has a bad habit of looking at me when he should be watching the damn road.
Yeah, that's all. I had an aunt that used to do that.
Yeah, it's like, watch the road. Can't you talk to me and watch the road at the same time? And always swerving and overcorrecting, It's like, I wonder why. Good thing he's got a rack and pinion steering. He would be better off with the old sloppy steering box because he's always overcorrecting, And that's another thing. He can't see for squat. He won't drive with his glasses. I'm going down the road, I flash my headlights and wave, and he just drives right by, It's like, oh, man. Biden gaining veteran support. Oh, yeah. Strategists also point out to the stark contrast in Biden and Trump's approaches to the military. Biden, the father of an Iraq war veteran, look, his kid was a JAG officer, okay? You know what that is? It's a lawyer. It's a Navy friggin' lawyer, all right? I mean, what was he? He must have had a really tough time pushing that desk through the desert, right, Philo, in Iraq?
Well, probably.
Yeah. It's like a buddy of mine was a quartermaster over in Vietnam. And I actually asked him that one time. I said, geez, yeah, must have been tough for you pushing that desk through the jungle. Oh, man, did I get a dirty look. Often closes his speech with a short prayer for the troops. Trump, meanwhile, was quick to praise veterans in public, but also made Islamophobic attacks on the parents of a soldier killed in Iraq, a Gold Star family, and made comments mocking American war dead. That was never verified, too. Even John Bolton, who a warmonger who didn't even like Trump but worked in the administration for, 6 months? He even said that comment about the World War I soldiers was baloney. Yet they keep printing it as if it were fact.
Okay, Steve, last but not least.
It's nuts. It just gets worse and worse. And the same thing with the Russian bounties. Oh, my God. Oh, good grief. I got a whole bunch of them. Man, oh, man. Common sense. Oh, yeah. All right. Last but not least. Pakistani Islamists free 11 cops. Well, of course, they're Islamists. And the oldest living American dies at 115. No red flag hearing for the FedEx shooter, even though the kid's own mother said that he had suicidal tendencies, wanted to suicide by cop. They took away his shotgun, but they didn't press the thing because they said had they lost in court, they would have had to get the shotgun back. So they didn't take him to court. So we have, they want more gun laws, yet we don't enforce the ones we have now. Mackie, you ready? Well, once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. Hopefully we'll see you again next week, inshallah, as the Hebrews say. So I'll put on my North Korean hat today, and we'll say, get down on your hands and knees in Pyongyang, praise our fearless leader towards the Mongolian border, and say, Allahu Stakbar, our fearless leader, Kim Jong-un.
Deus Magnus Est. And a few other flavors.
Sleep through anything.